and welcome to another edition of Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. I'm Mark Nuce. Thanks so much for being here with us this morning. With us on the program is our friend, the Executive Director of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, the Central Ohio chapter, Brianne McFarland. And Brianne, thanks for being here again this year.
Thanks for having us.
Your fifth year here at North American Broadcasting, talking about the Take Steps Walk, which is coming up June 25th. And once again, it's one of your big fundraisers for the year, and a time when people can get together and have a lot of fun for a good cause. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. Well, it is a family fun event. It will be held on June 25th at Dublin Kaufman Park again this year. Tons of kids' activities, lots of free food and entertainment. We have the Dublin School of Rock is coming out to do the entertainment on the main stage this year. We have all kinds of fun stuff to do in the kids area. We're going to have a hype hydration station this year along the walk route where people can kind of celebrate the end of the walk. So just a lot of great things to come out and check out and bring the kids and the whole family.
How long is the walk?
It's actually a short walk. We have a lot of patients who are pretty ill, and we want them to be able to walk and take part in the event. So it's about 2 miles.
And tell us how people get involved.
So you can do it a couple of different ways. You can register at cctakesteps.org/Columbus 2016. Sorry, that's long. And or you can give us a call at the office at 614-889-6060, or you can show up on walk day and register. And
tell us how people help you raise money. How does that work?
So basically it's set up as you can either do a corporate team or a family team, or you can walk as an individual. Most of the fundraising is done online through our website. Each person who registers gets their individual fundraising page. But you can also do third-party events and fundraisers. We have lots of teams that get their family and friends together and do things at restaurants or at their house. We actually have one team that's doing a book sale this year to raise funds. So what we tell people is just to pick something that you like to do and turn it into a fundraiser, and that way it's fun for you.
And I know that for a lot of people, especially like for an office or something, it's a great team-building exercise for them and helps you at the same time.
Absolutely, and we're more than happy to come in and do an internal kickoff, and we'll bring our honored hero with us to share her story and just get everybody pumped up and ready to go.
Well, Brianne McFarland is here, the Executive Director of the Central Ohio chapter of Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America. Their Take Steps Walk is June 25th. And introduce your honored hero this year to us.
So this year we have Becca with us. Becca has been part of our walk for, 6 years now?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Including Cincinnati. I started there.
Right.
Moved up here.
Yeah. So she was chosen this year to be our honored hero, and we're really excited to have her.
And Becca, thanks for being with us today. And tell us a little bit about your story. When were you first diagnosed, and how has that affected your life?
Well, like most Crohn's patients, it took me a while to get diagnosed. I first started showing symptoms at 15, and then it probably took about 6 months, maybe 8 months, to actually get a firm diagnosis when I was 16 in April of 2005. That was the first to many, many hurdles. Shortly after, I was already in my first emergency surgery. Appendicitis was, misdiagnosed as Crohn's symptoms, and my appendix ruptured, and that was super fun. And that was my junior year of high school, so that was kind of the first step into missing a whole lot of school and really needing to stay on top of my game in the real world, kind of work twice as hard as other people to catch up for the months that I missed of school, and friends, and, working hard to stay energized and stay healthy enough to be a real 16-year-old, 17-year-old girl. I've had 3 surgeries now, including 6 feet of bowel removed from my body. I'm currently living with an ileostomy bag, which I received a little over 2 years ago. And, it's the thing that most IBD patients are afraid of, because who wants to use the restroom in a completely unconventional way? And it's outside of your body, and, who can see it, who can smell it? Nobody can really see it, nobody can smell it, and it's really the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm. And Brianne, her story is not one that's uncommon among folks with Crohn's and colitis.
No, it's not. A lot of our patients go through the steps that Becca has gone through. And, as Becca mentioned, one of the things a lot of our patients are probably the scaredest of is to get that bag. It's not something that anybody really wants, but what we found with a lot of our patients is once they do, they feel better and do better. So
it's been a quality of life issue for you. It's actually helped you a lot.
Absolutely. And actually, it was really interesting timing. I got engaged almost exactly a month before I received my ileostomy bag. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh no, I just bought a form-fitting white dress. Everyone's going to see it. It's going to leak. I can't have this. I will not have this surgery. My now husband convinced me that this was the right thing to do and this was the healthiest thing to do, especially if we hope to have children in the future. This was literally the best option for me. And we got married 11 months later, and instead of my usual, exhaustion or needing to sit down every few minutes because I was afraid that I would have an accident, I was able to stand up all night. I was able to have fun with my friends, eat without any worry, although, the bride never eats. But it was really just, it was the best thing because my Crohn's wasn't on my mind that day. I could really focus on getting married and having fun with my friends and family and enjoying my new life with my new husband. And now we're a year and a half later.
Well, that's great. It sounds like you have a great support system with your husband. That's
absolutely,
terrific.
Absolutely.
And Brianne, talk a little bit about, it's interesting that she talked about being misdiagnosed.
Right.
And that I know has been a big thing with Crohn's. I mean, because the symptoms can be, varied. Talk a little bit about the diagnosis, and is that something is there a learning curve among doctors? Is it getting better?
It's definitely getting better. I mean, in the 5 years I've been with CCFA, I've seen a big turn. However, there are a lot of patients that go misdiagnosed. And the reason for that is the symptoms are very similar to a lot of other things. So especially in the beginning stages, when you're having diarrhea or stomach pains, fevers, you get misdiagnosed for having the flu at first, or you get misdiagnosed for having anxiety issues. That happens a lot, especially in kids, because it's just been recently that we're seeing a real big increase, unfortunately, in children being diagnosed. Right now, it's our largest newly diagnosed group, children under the age of 18. Mm-hmm. And that's not normal. It used to be, even 5 years ago when I started, it was men were age 35 and over were really the largest group being diagnosed. And now that has really changed. And we've also found over 200 genetic pathways that point towards Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. So the research is getting better, and they're starting to figure out, that there is a genetic component. The issue is that there has to be an environmental trigger of some sort to make it happen, for the disease to actually turn on. So, we're seeing a lot of things happen, and we're seeing a lot of changes in the diagnosis, but we still don't have a ton of people, doctors who specialize in inflammatory bowel disease. So, when you go to your primary care physician, it takes a while to get diagnosed.
What about here in Central Ohio? Obviously, there aren't enough specialists in this area, but are we better than most parts of the country? Are we not? How do we rank?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not. We don't have a ton of local doctors who focus in inflammatory bowel disease. We have a ton of GI doctors in town, which is great, and a lot of them do a really good job of treating our patients. But we don't have a ton of docs here locally that are doing research in inflammatory bowel disease. Now, we're probably ahead of the game at our children's hospital. At Nationwide Children's, we have a great GI clinic. OSU has opened an IBD clinic, which is great. So we're moving in the right direction, but we still have a long way to go.
With us on the program today from the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, the Central Ohio chapter, is their executive director, Brianne McFarland, and this year's honored hero, Becca Foskel, and they've got the big Take Steps walk coming up June 25th at Dublin Kaufman Park. And again, just remind folks, Brianne, if they'd like to get involved, how do they get a hold of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation?
Great. Well, you can go on our website at cctakesteps.org/Columbus 2016, or you can give us a call at our office at 614-889-6060. or you can actually come to the walk on June 25th at Dublin Kaufman Park and register at the registration table that day.
And June 25th will be here before you know it.
So just around the corner.
That's right. Time to get those teams together and get your T-shirts printed and get your plan down. Becca, it's interesting because a lot of times people go to the doctor and the doctor will say, well, this is your new normal. Mm-hmm. This is what your life's going to be like now. Tell us a little bit about what each day means to you. Do you have to take a lot of drugs? Do what's your regimen like? Do you have to watch what you eat?
It's changed a lot throughout the years. It's funny to think back of, almost 12 years ago when I was first diagnosed was, I was taking 8 pills a day plus some others just kind of interspersed in there. And now, and those are more, they're low-key, more anti-inflammatory. And now I am on a schedule of giving myself 2 shots every 4 weeks, which, is less annoying to my daily schedule. But the drugs are a lot more hazardous. They come with a lot, scarier side effects, including lymphoma. They decrease my immune system, so I have to be really, really careful about washing my hands and staying away from germs as best as possible because I am at risk for getting normal people illnesses, but I'm that much more at a greater risk for that. I do change my diet, and actually I have been in remission the past 2 years up until very recently. The past few weeks I've had some significant abdominal pain. I had an MRI last week. I'm showing some inflammation again in the last 8 or so inches of my small intestine, which is kind of what's leading up to my ostomy, which is really heartbreaking to me just because I've been so healthy. This is the healthiest I've been in over a decade, and I'm not ready for it to be over. So we'll see. Right now, I'm on a short steroid taper, not prednisone, because prednisone is the devil, and I don't want to do that again. And I'm also increasing my shots to every 3 weeks instead of every 4 weeks now. So it's a lot on my plate. It's a lot to keep track of, especially because it's not a daily thing for my injections. I have to remember when to do it. Mm-hmm. Food-wise, right now I brought a smoothie with me. It has lots of healthy things in it, but made into a smoothie so that I can digest it properly because my body it doesn't. And I always carry a water with me, which is something to always remember when you're missing a colon, like I have been for the past 7 years. You don't absorb water as well. So I've been hospitalized for dehydration in the past, and again, I don't want that to ever happen again. So drown myself in water.
Well, Brianne, has there been a lot of, developments when it comes to like drug therapies or things like that? Have there been any improvements there?
Yes, absolutely. There's been a couple of new drugs over the last couple of years. So they're really trying to focus on things that stay inside the intestinal or the GI tract. And not spread out to the other organs, because that's one of the issues with some of the drugs is that it can cause you other problems like Becca was talking about. So they've made some waves in that. They're trying to figure out a way to obviously have patients in a situation where they don't have to have as many surgeries, because that is something that a good majority of our patients do face is surgery and removal of intestine. So, yes, they've definitely made a lot of waves. And, the important thing to understand about CCFA is that we've been a part of every major breakthrough that has to do with the disease since we've started in the 60s. So, we're very proud of what CCFA is doing. I think our patients are very proud of it. We actually just received the 4-Star Charity Navigator Award for the 5th year in a row, which is super exciting. Only 6% of charities can say that. So, we're doing all the right things with the money that we're raising, and we're really focusing on the research and education for both patients and professionals, and really trying to get us towards that cure.
Well, Becca, you've obviously been involved for several years with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Talk a little bit about how your interaction has been with the foundation and how that's helped you out.
I think it's been extremely rewarding, not only especially in my time of health, to help other people who are dealing with the disease while I kind of have a break from it. It's always lingering, but I had a brief break. But also just meeting people who you don't have to explain the disease to. You don't have to give your little summary of the disease and, censor it because nobody wants to hear about poop or, how your waste comes out of your abdomen. Nobody wants to really hear that. So having met very close friends through CCFA who just get it, or who have the same body setup as you, is just, it's comforting, just to have somebody who understands.